A horrifying snarl echoes through the trees. Something big, ugly, and wild is moving in the shadows. Could it be an animal, a demon, or perhaps something worse? Join us as we look at 5 mythical creatures that might have been real. You won't believe what we find. 5. The Griffin. A proud roar shakes the ground. The griffin soars high above the mountains. Its lion body gives it great strength, and with the head and wings of an eagle, it can strike with speed and accuracy. For this majestic creature of myth and legend was the king of all beasts. Griffins were first found in ancient Mesopotamia around 2000 BCE, but they would soon show up in many other cultures. These legendary animals were depicted in Greece around 600 BC, and they appear often in Greek literature, including the Iliad and Odyssey. They also appear in Persia and Scythia, among other places. These creatures may have been part of a real animal, but that animal might be long extinct. The earliest depictions of griffins show them with the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle. However, later depictions show them with the head and wings of an owl. This suggests that they may have been inspired by an actual animal that looked like a mix between an owl and a lion. It could have been a large owl with powerful talons and sharp claws, which would explain why the griffin is always shown as a fierce predator. However, there are no owls that look like this, so the griffin could be a completely made-up monster. However, some believe the myth came from ancient fossils, beaked dinosaurs discovered in the Middle East, such as the Arabic Ornithomimus, which is now extinct. They may have been mistakenly identified as griffins. Could these legends have come from extinct creatures that are now only bones and fossils? Number 4. The Kraken. The ship creaks and groans as the salty wind whips across the deck. The lookout cries out. A giant beast looms before them, tentacles flailing, eyes blazing. There isn't enough time to turn around or fire a cannon. They can only hope to outrun the monster. The crew scrambles as the gigantic squid wraps its tentacles around the mast and hauls it into the water. The sea boils and churns as the beast drags the ship down into the dark depths. This terrifying creature is known as the Kraken. Sailors have told tales of the Kraken since the 12th century. In 1857, a Norwegian author wrote a story about a man who had seen a huge underwater beast. He described it as having a large head with 8 tentacles and 2 great horns. The story quickly became popular, and the Kraken became known as a fearsome monster. But giant squid are real. Scientists have confirmed that giant squid do exist. They live in the darkest parts of the ocean and can grow to over 40 feet long. They have huge eyes and strong tentacles that they use to capture their prey. So could the Kraken be real? The answer is yes. Giant squid have been hunted by humans for centuries, and many fishermen have claimed to have seen one. However, they are very rare, and most people don't believe that they exist. But maybe the old maps weren't exaggerating. 3. The Rock. A storm rages across the land, the wind howls, and the rain pours down in torrents. Suddenly, a massive shadow falls over the land, and a loud screeching sound fills the air. The Rock has arrived. The Rock is a gigantic bird that is said to live in India and Arabia. It is described as being larger than any other bird and having a wingspan of up to 20 feet. The Rock is said to be so powerful that it can lift an elephant into the air with its talons. When the Rock flies, the air grows cold and the sky darkens. Its feathers are said to be so sharp that they can cut a man in half. But birds with 20-foot wingspans did exist. Scientists have found evidence of birds with huge wingspans in India and Arabia. They lived there about 10,000 years ago and were called Argentavis magnificens. They were huge, weighing up to 200 pounds, and their wingspan was up to 20 feet. The Argentavis was a scavenger, meaning it fed on dead animals. This would explain why it needed to be so big. It could then carry off large carcasses of animals and fly away. So could the Rock still be living in India and Arabia today? The answer is probably not. The Argentavis went extinct about 10,000 years ago. This means that the rock is most likely a myth. However, there have been sightings of strange birds in India and Arabia. They are said to be huge, with a wingspan of up to 10 feet. These sightings could be of a new species of bird, or they could be of the legendary rock. What did our ancestors really see when they gazed up at the sky? Number 2, the dragon. In many cultures, dragons are depicted as powerful, scaly creatures with wings, sharp teeth and claws, and the ability to breathe fire. They are often shown as being greedy and hoarding treasure in caves or underwater. Dragons are usually defeated by brave heroes or heroines who use their wits, courage, and strength. But every culture has its dragon. There are Chinese dragons, Norse dragons, and even Mesoamerican dragons. The Mayans believed that the world was created by a feathered serpent god. The Aztecs also believed in a feathered serpent god, and they thought he had a human wife. This wife was said to be the first queen of the Aztec Empire. The Chinese dragon is usually depicted as a benevolent creature that brings good luck and prosperity. They are often shown as being wise and spiritual beings. In Norse mythology, dragons are shown as being evil creatures that bring destruction and chaos. They are often shown as being greedy and hoarding treasure. So could these legends have come from real creatures? Well, it's possible. We know that dinosaurs existed, and some of them were huge and terrifying. For example, the Tyrannosaurus rex was a huge meat-eating dinosaur that lived in North America about 68 million years ago. It was about 40 feet long and weighed over 7 tons. Then there's the same Caesaurus. This was a huge plant-eating dinosaur that lived in South America about 70 million years ago. It was about 50 feet long and weighed over 10 tons. Both of these dinosaurs were found in places where dragons are said to have lived. Could the legends of dragons have come from people who saw these dinosaurs? Maybe, but there are other possibilities. Some scientists think that the legends of dragons could have come from volcanic eruptions. When volcanoes erupt, they can create huge explosions and throw molten lava into the air. This lava can flow like a river of fire and destroy everything in its path. People who witnessed these eruptions could have been terrified and may have started telling stories about dragons. Others think that dragon legends could have come from ancient people who saw fossils of dinosaurs. Fossils are the preserved remains of ancient creatures. They can often be found in rocks, and sometimes they can look like strange and scary animals. If ancient people found fossils of dinosaurs, they may have believed that they were the remains of dragons. But what is true? Did dragons really exist? It's impossible to say for sure, but one thing is certain. The legends of dragons have captured the human imagination for thousands of years. Number 1, the werewolf. In the dark of the night, something stirs in the forest. It is a creature of nightmare, part man and part wolf, snarling and savage. It is the werewolf. Werewolves have been feared for centuries. People have told stories of these creatures that can turn into wolves. They've been blamed for the deaths of livestock and even people. In some countries, like France and Germany, entire villages have been wiped out because people believed they were harboring werewolves. But while modern science sees it as myth, ancient cultures recorded real accounts of men possessed, cursed, or transformed under strange circumstances. Werewolves are said to be able to change shape at will or when they are bitten by another werewolf. They are often portrayed as being violent and dangerous, and they are said to be able to hypnotize their victims. Could such a creature be real? The answer is probably not. However, there are cases of animals that can change color, like chameleons. There are also animals that can change sex, like clownfish. So it's not impossible that an animal could change into a different creature. But we know of no such animal that changes into a wolf. But what about the ancient accounts? Well, some believe that these accounts are of real events that were misreported. For example, there are cases of people who have contracted diseases that make them behave like animals. One disease is called lycanthropy. It causes the sufferer to behave like a wolf. and they may even grow hair on their face and body. Another disease is called hypertrichosis. It causes the sufferer to grow lots of hair, and this can make them look like a werewolf. Maybe those ancient people saw these diseases and believed they were caused by werewolves. But whatever the truth, one thing is certain. The legend of the werewolf has captured the human imagination for centuries. It has been used in books, films, and TV shows all over the world. And who knows, maybe there really is a creature lurking in the forests that we haven't found yet. Thanks for watching. Which of these beasts did you find the most fascinating? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you're drawn to the strange echoes of the past.